Hey, beautiful star beings. This is Meagan Mermaid, and I'm a galactic guide and channel for galactic consciousness. And today I want to talk to you all about the lunar eclipse in Scorpio. And if you're new to my work, my role is supporting star beings and activating their divine purpose, connecting to their creative genius, and receiving the support that they deserve from their star families. So we have been in the eclipse portal for the last 2 weeks. We had this really powerful solar eclipse in Aries last now I can't remember. Let me see what it was. I think it was April 20, no, I don't even know. April 19th. April 19th. I'm glad I wrote it down. And, since then, Mercury has gone retrograde and we've been in what is called the eclipse portal. So, the eclipse portal is the time between eclipses, and we have eclipses generally about every 6 months. But when we're in that portal in between the solar and the lunar, or the lunar and the solar, it really depends. Sometimes one comes before the other. This is a time where we're sort of going into the underworld and we're unearthing all the things that we need to clear so that we can step into these higher timelines and step into higher versions of us. And hi, Leah. Welcome to all of those beautiful beings here that are joining live as well as on the replay. And so let's just talk about the energy of Scorpio. So, Scorpio is one of my favorite energies, but it's definitely not for the faint of heart. It's really about diving deep. So, Scorpio is ruled by Pluto, and it also governs the eighth house in astrology, which is all about sex, death, and transformation. So, basically, anything that's really deep or anything that connects us in intimacy or shared resources or shared experiences. It's sort of like that glue that binds us, where we all have to go through these experiences regardless of who we are. And so, when we have eclipses in Scorpio, it can feel very intense. It's a really deep process of clearing and cleansing our energy. So let's just talk about lunar eclipses in general, and then we're going to dive deeper into what this one in Scorpio is going to mean for us as a collective. So, lunar eclipses are all about relationships. Solar eclipses are all about the self. So, we just had this really powerful solar eclipse in Aries, and it was sort of like we were rebranding ourselves. That's kind of the word that I got, rebranding ourselves, rebranding our image, stepping into a deeper level of our power. And now, as we move into this lunar eclipse, it's kind of like this final clearing and this reevaluation of our relationships, of what's working for us, of where we have to do an honest inventory of where we may be stuck in codependent habits or toxic dynamics or approval seeking or validation seeking or whatever is just not in alignment with our highest path and our highest purpose. That's really going to be highlighted in this eclipse. Now, the eclipse is also going to be opposing Uranus. And so we have the sun and Uranus in Taurus, which is this energy of stability and this energy of sensuality and groundedness and beauty. And then we have this other energy of Scorpio that's like really asking us to go into the depths of our shadow, the depths of our life, so that we can come through as this really powerful, transformed phoenix. And so, in order to get that rebirth, we've got to walk through the fire. And I work really closely with the Celtic sovereignty goddess, the Morrigan. And she is always appearing to me through crows or ravens. And I see them everywhere now. It's so interesting. And she's really good to work with when you've got to figure out what is dead in your life and what you need to let go of. Sometimes it's not easy to let those things go. And as I was driving today, she gave me the words that when we unearth our own demons, the universe doesn't have to do it for us. So, what I mean by that is that when we're an active participant in our shadow work, in our integrity, in our personal responsibility for our actions, what we're creating in the world, then we're not going to be disrupted or hit with these like sudden, unexpected usually very erratic situations that cause us to like wake up. So we have to think about the energy of Uranus being like this lightning bolt, right? So if we have this lightning bolt that's telling us change, wake up, look at what's happening, look at this dynamic, look at the people that you're allowing in your life, look at the behavior you're allowing in your life. If you're not looking at that, the universe is going to shake you up so that you can see it. And it's a very loving energy. It's this fierce love, this fierce mother's love, this wrathful goddess energy of like destroying anything that is not truth, anything that is not going to bring you into your highest timeline and your highest path. But when you're in that and you're hit by lightning and you wake up and you're like, what the fuck happened? And your hair is all crazy, it can feel challenging, right? So here's a couple things that you should do. Not should, I don't want to tell you what to do, but I invite you to consider that would be helpful for you is over the next few days, even after the eclipse portal, over the next 2 weeks, even until we get into that new moon in Taurus on May 19th, we're still going through a lot of changes. And when we have lunar eclipses, it's sort of like the earth is overshadowing the moon. And what happens is that it kind of zaps the energy out of the moon. And what does the moon represent? It represents our emotions. And so if we're feeling emotionally drained, if we're feeling fatigued, we're more likely to be triggered, we're more likely to be irritable, and we're more likely to go along with things that maybe we normally wouldn't. So we've got to be really careful with our energy, and we've really got to allow ourselves to have these cycles of integration and rest. So drink lots of water. It's not recommended to go outside during an eclipse. It's going to be in the morning time, Pacific, but depending on where you are in the world, this is called a penumbral, I think I said that right, eclipse. So it's like the earth is like shadowing the moon, but it's kind of difficult to see, so it might just look like a brighter full moon. But it's not really encouraged to be out in that energy because there's so much high frequency, um just energy, material that's being changed and transformed, that if you put yourself in that, it might cause you to feel more depleted. So eat grounding foods, make sure you're getting plenty of sleep. If you feel more tired than usual, if you're not feeling productive, don't make yourself wrong for that. Your body is going through some really significant upgrades, and your life is going through some very significant upgrades. Even if it feels like those upgrades come in the form of heartbreak or sadness, or having to set boundaries. Here's another thing that's really important to remember is that because lunar eclipses deal with relationships, that sometimes certain people or situations or experiences are going to sort of be eclipsed out of our life. It's almost like their role is complete in your movie, and they have to make cameos in other movies, and new characters, new players in your game of life want to come in, but they can't do that if you're not allowing, like the Morgan shares, to let what's dead be dead. So I'm going to say that again. In this lunar eclipse, the most important thing to remember is to let what's dead be dead. You already know. You are a very intuitive person if you're watching this. You're highly sensitive. You're in tune with your emotions. You know what your heart is saying. And sometimes we have to really just be with that. Be with the grief, be with the sadness. And sometimes we just have to recognize, okay, this relationship is complete. This friendship feels one-sided. This job isn't doing it for me. This living situation doesn't fit me anymore. And if you go through this eclipse portal and you keep trying to make that thing that doesn't fit you work, you're going to feel miserable. I don't want that for you. So even if for a moment you have to go through some uncomfortable emotions, you have to kind of look at that shadow and figure out where you need to set boundaries, where you need to say no. I noticed that in myself. I've had to set some boundaries with people that have sort of come into my life, previous partners. And, I was able to speak my truth. But I set those boundaries, and those boundaries were important because not only did it protect my heart, but it gave them the opportunity to up level. And I wasn't enabling their bad behavior in my storyline. But the thing is that what I noticed about those interactions is I still felt bad. And I feel like so many of us, especially women, experience that where we feel guilty or bad about setting a boundary, or we don't want to be mean, or we don't want to hurt them, even though certain people continue to hurt us and hurt us and hurt us. So we have to remember that the most important relationship that we have is the relationship with ourselves. And we have to remember that if we are being true to ourselves, sometimes we will have to hurt people. But even that hurt is a part of soul contracts, and we can do so from a place of grace, from a place of reverence, from a place of respect. But we must set those boundaries, because if we don't do this, it's sort of like this is the third chance. We had a lunar eclipse last year in May in Scorpio, and then in October during the fall, we had a solar eclipse in Scorpio. So last May, it was sort of like the activation of the dynamics in your relationships that maybe needed to be looked at or readjusted. And then we got this surge of power last fall to kind of give us that strength to say goodbye to these patterns that were no longer working for us. And now the universe is saying, hey, here is this energy. Here is this portal that you can walk through to step into your power, to step into your authenticity, to step into your truth. And you can either do this now, or you can wait until 2031, because or is it, no, 2023. No, wait. No, just kidding. Sorry. 2031. I was right. I was looking at two dates. Man, I was like on fire, and then I totally messed that date up. Okay, so let's start over. So you can do it now, or you can wait until 2031 when we have the next cycle of eclipses in Scorpio. So this is where we have to like really develop that strength and that courage to walk through the fire and say goodbye to the things and the people and the situations that aren't serving us anymore. So if you're ready to do that, say, I'm ready to be free in the chat, and we can cheer each other on. Leah sharing amen. Amanda sharing let what's dead be dead. Yes, I love that. All right, we're all daughters of Morrigan here. So I'm going to be pulling some cards from my deck, the Mermaid Empowerment Oracle, as well as the tarot. And we're just going to kind of get a feel of what's going to be in this energy, because this energy is it's very difficult to sort of pinpoint because we have so much Uranian energy. It's sort of like just prepare for the unexpected. And you may have already been feeling that in the last few weeks, where it's just unexpected things happen. And sometimes they happen to show you how far you've come and to show you your level of self-mastery. So there are going to be two groups of people in this lunar eclipse. There's going to be the people that have been doing this work for a while and that are really comfortable with shadow work. And they're like, wow, I'm feeling really transparent and I feel really in alignment. And then there's going to be the people that are losing their shit because they've just been ignoring it and numbing out and checking out. And the universe is like ripping that band-aid off and saying, hey, you got to look at this wound. So if you're in that camp where you're freaking out, focus on your self-care. Keep breathing. Know that this is for your highest good. Know that these changes are pointing you in the right direction and supporting you. And if you're in this other camp where you're like, I'm good, then we got to be mindful of our arrogance or, like kind of feeling like superior in some way. And instead, this is a time for us to have really deep compassion and to stay in that space of compassion, because the world is going through a lot right now. So the first card that we have from my deck is New Chapter. So perfect, right? Every eclipse portal puts us into a new timeline. It's kind of like we're finishing one movie and we're starting a new movie. So who are you going to be in this new movie? Who's your character? Who are your co-stars? Who's been respecting you and honoring you and blessing you in the previous movie that gets to come and be a part of this movie? And who are you going to let go and just trust their contract is complete? We wish you well. Have fun. Hi, Highness. Good to see you. Yay. And Amanda sharing, I'm ready to be free. I love that. So, the Mermaid Empowerment for New Chapter is every sunset brings a new tomorrow. So, this is so important. When we work with the elements and when we work with elemental energy, mermaid consciousness, fairy energy, whatever it is, it's all working very closely in harmony with the natural cycles of life. And this is why when we work with moons and eclipses and solstices and equinoxes, that we're working in the natural harmonies of life, the natural cycles of life, which naturally puts us in the flow of the universe. So when we're in the flow, the universe is carrying us, it's giving us that momentum. But we have to recognize that the sunset brings the new dawn. So the lunar eclipse is like that dark point where it's darkest before the dawn. So we have to remember, if you're in that sunset, you can grieve, you can be sad for the things that didn't work out, the things that you have to leave behind. You can feel fear of the uncertainty of what's coming. You can have all of that and still be excited about this new chapter, because the best is always yet to come. The next card that we have is Joyful. Hi, Antonio. Good to see you. And so this card always kind of reminds me of my daughter and I, my daughter Aria. And so the Mermaid Empowerment for Joyful is my joy heals the whole world. And so we're not talking about some kind of toxic positivity here where we're ignoring all of our emotions, and just be happy. Just stay positive. Even if your life feels like a dumpster fire right now, just be positive. Focus on the good things. You're creating your reality. There's so much programming that's keeping us away from like the true meaning of joy. The true meaning of joy is recognizing that every moment is beautiful and new and innocent and is full of wonder. And it's stepping into this eternal now moment where we honor and we grieve the natural cycles, but we also have gratitude and we celebrate that we're here, that we're alive. And it's that joy, that vibration of joy, doing the things that bring you joy and cutting out the things that don't bring you joy. That is what heals the world. So the final card from the mermaids today is Freedom. This is really powerful. So the Mermaid Empowerment for Freedom is I free myself by letting go. So you have to surrender. We all have to surrender. Yes, we understand that there are these cycles like the eclipse that's coming up, and we can do all that we can to prepare, and we can listen for our action steps, and we can ask for support. But if you want to feel freedom, the true freedom, the liberation of stepping all the way into the eternal now and getting out of your head, you've got to recognize that you've got to let go. You've got to surrender. You've got to trust that the universe is carrying you. And when you're in that space of surrender and in that space of joy, that's when you can just really naturally and effortlessly step into these next chapters and honor and complete these cycles with reverence and respect and power. And that's really what we're modeling here. And in this awakening journey is we're choosing to be one of the first that are starting to awaken on this planet. And to awaken just means that we begin to reconcile with our individual and our collective karma. And we have to sit with our emotions and our sadness and our memories, and we have to integrate it and we have to heal ourselves. And then as we do so, we're going to figure out the things that have naturally worked for us, and we can share them with other people. So we don't have to do the work for anyone else. We can't. We're just simply sharing our story. We're turning on our light, which in turn gives them the option to turn their light on. So that's what we're doing. When we free ourselves, we also free others. So I'm going to pull 3 tarot cards for this energy. The first card that we have is the 5 of Pentacles. So it's like this feeling of like loneliness or loss or isolation, right? It's like these 2 people are out in the cold, and, you know, inside this is supposed to be like a church or a temple, and it's like all warm. But the thing is that what's really beautiful about this card is that even though they're in this space of like the snow and cold and you know, they're experiencing physical ailments, they're together. And we have to recognize this, that when we go through difficult experiences, it's not the time to isolate. It's the time to find your tribe or your pod, if you want to talk in mermaid terms, where it's the people that you know and you can trust, that you can reach out to, that you can share, that you can vent, that you can talk about. And that's really how we support each other in the awakening journey, is by compassionately witnessing each other. Consciousness needs to be witnessed. And as we witness it, we heal. So, this is just your opportunity where, even if it feels like you're going through loneliness, or you're going through this period of isolation, or where it just feels like you're in a space of struggle, there's people that are around you. There's support around you, whether it's physical or whether you want to call in your spirit team or your star family. And if you're not connected with your star family, you can always book a galactic channeled reading to connect with your star family and meet them. You can visit the link in my bio if you want to do that. And so the next card that we have is the King of Swords. So the King of Swords is really this energy of like setting those boundaries, of like recognizing that in order for us to step into our purpose, in order for us to be effective where we're at in the world, we've got to really be clear about where we're allowing people in, what we're allowing in, and we have to trust our voice. That's really what I'm getting. Trust your voice, trust your story, trust what's coming to you. And the final card that we have is the Fool. So the Fool is very similar to this energy of new chapter, where it's just like, we need to just take this leap of faith and trust that whatever we're feeling is right. Whatever we're experiencing is right. Even if we're not sure where we're going, but we know that big changes are ahead, we've got to surrender. That's where the freedom comes from. We let go and trust the universe will catch us. So even if there might be some bumps in the road during this eclipse energy, know that whatever is being cleared away, that it's ran its course, and you can honor it, you can bury it, you can mourn it, you can grieve it, but you got to let what's dead be dead, because we're stepping into a new chapter, and you got to make that room for what's to come. So everyone, thank you so much for either joining live or on the replay. I love you all. And if you're interested in diving deeper into my work, I have so many beautiful Starseed activation replays, as well as a course, a self-study course called Galactic Leadership Training, that you can find on my website. And you can also book a personal session with me or a galactic channeled reading. And I would love to support you on your journey. And I wish you all the best. See you on the other side of the eclipse portal. Have a wonderful day.